Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Unlimited Characters podcast. Big sports tonight, last night. NBA playoffs are underway. Going to be getting into the NBA playoffs. Some Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney reaction, as well as what's going to happen with the Bears draft this Thursday. I think we all know what's going to happen with number 1 pick, but what's going to happen with that number 9 pick. So let's just get right into it. NBA playoffs. Last night was insane. Anybody that is an NBA fan, that's what we've been waiting for all season. Everybody that's not an NBA fan, that gives you a really good glimpse of what the playoffs are like, how exciting the playoffs are when those two teams, everybody's playing, everybody's competitive, everybody's going at it. There's really nothing else you can ask for. I'm going to start off with backwards in the games. I mean, the late night game was the game of the night. You have Denver Nuggets versus the LA Lakers. Denver pretty much owns LA at this point. I think now it's 10 wins in a row. So the Lakers actually lost 101 to 99. Jamal Murray step back game winner right at the buzzer over Anthony Davis. I mean, it's just one of those playoff moments that he's never going to forget. Fans are never going to forget. Denver's not going to forget. And they fought off the Lakers once again. I mean, I don't know how much more a team can own another team, but Denver just has the Lakers number. They seem to hit all the shots at the right time, make all the right plays at the right time. And I mean, obviously that says a lot about their team. But for some reason, they just have that confidence when they're going up against the Lakers. And I think, that last sequence where Murray's there, it does really expose one of the Lakers' bigger weaknesses, which is they don't have anybody that can really guard on the perimeter. Anthony Davis, obviously, defensive player of the year candidate. A lot of talk about how good he is on defense. LeBron aging, obviously still a good athlete, but in comparison to how he used to be or those elite NBA defenders, he's not really there like he used to be. Then you got to rely on people like Russell, Austin Reeves, just people that really aren't defenders. Gabe Vincent, solid defender, but he's just not a big body. I mean, not somebody that's going to stop Jamal Murray. So Murray really didn't have much going all of the night, but in that last sequence, in the last part of the game, he really started to take over. And I mean, it's pretty evident that Denver, no matter how much they're down to the Lakers, they were down by 14 in game 1. They went down by 20 points last night. Denver just doesn't get shook when they're up against LA. I mean, obviously LeBron's a little bit older now, so that factor of him is not what it used to be. But just a team that isn't fazed by the Laker brand, isn't fazed by LeBron and AD. So like I mentioned, they were up by 20 in the second half alone. So second half, Lakers were up by 20. A lot of pretty much dominating. Anthony Davis was going crazy. His stat line was something definitely that everybody's been waiting for. He had 32 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. But man, then you put that up against Jokic. Jokic, I mean, how do you even stop Jokic? 27 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists. So Jokic with a triple-double. So everything that Anthony Davis does just gets negated and pretty much overdone by Jokic. So it's hard for the Lakers to win at that point. Then you don't have anybody else really stepping up. Porter had 22 for the Nuggets and 9 rebounds. Murray still added 20, even though he struggled. Gordon had 14. Christian Brown off the bench had 10. And then for the Lakers, I mean, you get 23 from Russell. You got 26 from LeBron. You got 32 from Anthony Davis. But just at the end of the game, man, they don't have anybody that's really a lockdown defender that's going to stop someone. And, I mean, LeBron had that wide open 3. Everybody's been talking about it. KCP fell down. Bron had still like 10 seconds on the shot clock. I think 15 seconds or so on the game clock. He's wide open. He had hit a couple of threes, so he shot it, missed. It gave Denver some time to come down. And then, Murray did his thing, hit that step back 15-footer right over Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis fell right into that first row, almost got trampled by the Denver celebrating. KCP, his old teammate, classic vet, came in and saved Anthony Davis, backed up a little bit, make sure nobody didn't fall on him. But, man, just a tough loss if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know how you bounce back from that. So, I mean, I guess the question that I want to ask is, are the Lakers done? I know a lot of people say, the series doesn't really start until the away team wins, let's start over. So, are the Lakers done? A lot of people say the series doesn't really start until the home team loses a game on their court. So Denver's won the first 2 in Denver. Lakers definitely had a shot in both game, big leads, couldn't hold on to them. So they're down 2-0 now. Are they done? Is the series over? I'm going to say definitely. I think the series is a wrap. 10 losses in a row to the Nuggets. At this point, it's mental. I don't think the Lakers even have really what it takes. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, good players, but I mean, it looks like Murray and KCP have that edge over them, and it doesn't look like they're giving that up. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., everybody just kind of fits their perfect role. Everybody does exactly what they're supposed to do. And not that the Lakers don't do that, but it seems like those extra pieces just aren't as good. The bench isn't as good. LeBron, quite frankly, he puts up the numbers, but everybody that's been watching basketball since LeBron came into the league, it's different. Those numbers aren't as impactful as they used to be. And I mean, it looks good. 26 points, 12 assists, 8 rebounds, but it doesn't always come at the time where you need it, where it seems like Jokic and Murray maybe struggle and the stats don't look as great. I mean, Jokic not, but Murray. But then they hit those shots. They make those shots in those big moments where you really need it. So Lakers are down 2-0 now. They had both games right there in their grasp. I mean, it's a battle. I don't know what's going to happen in game 3, but I do think that the series is over. I mean, at best, I think Lakers maybe win game 3. You go home, have all this, energy built up. They're probably pissed. LeBron, they're blaming the refs and all that stuff, but I wouldn't say that's true. I think the Lakers had the most free throw attempts this season, and it was by a wide margin, and you're up by 20. So if you're up by 20, free throws shouldn't give up the 20-point lead. Non-calls should not give up the 20-point lead. So fix the defense, have something. I mean, I think more that everybody talks about on Twitter, and it's definitely a factor, is the coach. Darvin Ham, not that great. Seems like he's not really making adjustments, not much happening out there. The Nuggets are still good, but I don't think they're as good as last year. So there's definitely some type of adjustments you could make, at least when the bench is in the court for the Nuggets. That starting lineup, tough to beat. Murray, KCP, Jokic, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., that's a tough starting 5. Everybody does exactly what they're supposed to do. Big size, pause, and just overall, everybody can knock down a shot when they need to. Rui Hachimura, just a no-show for the Lakers. He has 3 points last night. It's pretty much nothing coming out of him, and that's tough to expect from your starting lineup. You're only getting 3 points from him, 9 points from Austin Reeves. Taurean Prince is the only player. This sounds crazy. This makes no sense if you say this out loud. The Lakers have 0 bench points in the first 2 games besides Taurean Prince. So they're getting no help. 99 points feels like a 2000s basketball game, 101-99. Refs are definitely let them play a little bit. But the Lakers, I mean, you got to get a little bit more, especially from the bench. You can't get 3 points from Rui, 6 from Austin Reeves, and then 6 from Prince and 0 from everybody else. That just 9 from Austin Reeves, my bad. But that just says the point. And the only people that were a plus last night was actually Austin Reeves, LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell. But when that bench comes in, Spencer Dinwiddie, -9. Gabe Vincent, -6. Jackson Hayes, -1. Seems like, to me, some of that's got to be coaching. That bench unit comes in. These are solid players. Spencer Dinwiddie, Taurean Prince, even Gabe Vincent. I feel like there's not a good scheme happening to set that team up for success. Or, some of the rotations, sometimes he seems to take players out at weird times, put them back in. But, Jared Vanderbilt's supposed to be coming back for game 3. So it's only 2-0. I still think the Lakers are done. Let me know if you think they're not, if you think the Nuggets are going to give this one up, but I don't see that happening. Nuggets seem to have that gear that every championship team always has, where they're down, but you kind of just feel it. You feel that vibe of like, they're not even playing that good, and they were only down 10, 13. And now in the NBA, that's a couple of 3-pointers. So back in the day, when I was growing up, 90s, 2000s, you're down by 12 or 15, coaches pulling out the bench, everybody's coming out. Nowadays, that's nothing, man. That's like a couple of trips down the court. The shot clock resets to 14 instead of 24, so there's more shots. There's just more possessions, more everything. So, don't let the scores deceive you all the time in the regular season, but you could see in the playoffs, they're definitely let them be a little more physical, playing harder. This Nuggets and Lakers series, even if it doesn't go too long, all the games are competitive. But 10 in a row now, Nuggets have beat the Lakers. I don't know how to even explain that. LeBron's probably sick to his stomach. So we'll see how they bounce back. Let's take a look, find out when their next game is real quick. Where'd it go? All right, so next game's going to be Thursday. They're in LA, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central for the real ones that are in the Midwest. Shout out to the Midwest. Let's get it. But I would say it's a must-win game for the Lakers. If they have any chance at the series, you're not going to win if you go down 3-0 to the Nuggets. So I'm going to expect another big game from LeBron, probably like 40 this time. So let's see how this goes, y'all. Lakers are done in my book, but if they have any chance, game 3 is the one they need. So next game, another fire game. A lot of people, the internet's saying this is like the best ever ESPN playoff, or not ESPN, but that this was the best ever NBA doubleheader. The first, started off with Sixers at the Knicks. Knicks, once again, that grit, the grind, doing everything it takes just to get the game out the mud. A typical Tom Thibodeau team. I'm very familiar with the Thibodeau style. He was the coach of the Bulls when I was in high school, and we had Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Carlos Boozer for those teams. And this Knicks team, they remind me a lot of that Bulls team. They don't have maybe the best talent. They don't probably have maybe the most athleticism at every position, but they're always in the right spot. They always make the right play. And, in a first-round game and like this, that's the type of games they're going to win, man. They're going to out-hustle you. They're going to do what it takes. They got the Villanova 3. They got Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo. So, they have the chemistry. They have that type of coach that they are used to playing for. Somebody, hard-nosed, like a Jay Wright, Tom Thibodeau. Everybody's leading the league in minutes. So maybe their careers aren't going to be as long due to Thibodeau, but you're going to get some exciting basketball. You're going to get hard-played basketball, good defensive basketball. You're going to get everything that, if you really are into hoops, it's what you like to see. Jalen Brunson struggled in both games, and 76ers still haven't been able to pull it out. And obviously, Joel Embiid is playing, but as we all know, he's injured, dealing with something in his meniscus. He, once again, looks like he can't really jump out there. Every time he jumps or lands on that leg, it looks like something pretty much sets it off. And from what I was hearing or kind of reading about his injury, seems like it's something where, it's just a lot of like bone on bone, pause, but a lot of bone on bone, no like cartilage or something in there. So can't imagine the pain. He's still putting up some decent numbers out there. But they lost it too at the end, 104-101. Knicks beat the 76ers. Dante DiVincenzo came up clutch at the end. The Knicks were actually down by 5 with less than 30 seconds to go. Jalen Brunson hit the first 3, got them within 2. Josh Hart then ended up stealing the ball, gets the ball back. Dante DiVincenzo misses one. Hartenstein gets the rebound. They get it back out. DiVincenzo hits the 3. They go up. Place absolutely exploded. It's awesome seeing, these big cities, the big teams, things going down. And the Knicks are a fun team to root for. And the question that I kind of want to ask, or that I've been thinking, are the Knicks just tougher than the 76ers? You look at the rosters, you take a look at the matchups. It's not like, hey, the Sixers fell off. I know they lost James Harden, but you still have Embiid. You still got Maxey. You got Oubre, Tobias Harris. They got Batum. So, a lot of those names definitely stick out when you hear them. And as an NBA fan, you probably know some of those names more versus Brunson, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, currently Hartenstein, OG Anunoby. So I would say it's kind of relatively even. If Julius Randle was there, who knows? This might be a blowout. But it just really, to me, seems like the Knicks are just flat out tougher than the 76ers. 76ers, this seems to happen every year. Embiid does his thing, gets to the playoffs. He's either hurt or he just kind of comes up short, or it's a little bit of both. So, this year it's kind of like he has that built-in excuse where, yeah, they are the 7th seed. He helped them make it there after he was out most of the year, came back at the end, fought through, tough. Can't blame him for that. So he kind of has that safety, that out, like, hey, we're going to lose, but I was hurt. I played through it, which you got to give him props for that. But once again, coming up short in the playoffs, and being one of the biggest guys in the league, tallest guys in the league, comes up short once again. And it's, you thought maybe the coaching before. People blame Doc Rivers. Nick Nurse obviously won a championship with the Raptors. It was over like a depleted Warriors team where KD was hurt, Thompson was hurt, but nevertheless, Nick Nurse won the championship. Can't take that away from him. He's a really solid coach, somebody that I wish the Bulls would have gone after, but now we're going to be stuck with Billy Donovan. But back to the 76ers. I think it starts with Embiid. All the flopping and flailing, like, I get it, bro. You want to get a foul call, but don't you think maybe that's why you're getting hurt? You're literally falling down every 3 plays. He tried to throw himself an alley-oop off the glass. Like, if your knee's hurt and you know that you're not supposed to be jumping and landing, why would you throw yourself an alley-oop off the glass? Seems like maybe his basketball IQ just isn't always where you expect it to be. And he's amazing. I mean, MVP, obviously, of the league before, and started playing basketball only, like, I think 16 or 17 years old, and now he's an NBA MVP. But maybe that's also why he sometimes makes some kind of like goofy decisions. He hasn't been like a basketball lifer, so maybe he just didn't watch enough Michael Jordan growing up to see what to do in the playoffs, or maybe not even enough Kobe. Not even enough LeBron, all right? We'll give LeBron some credit too. But Embiid just kind of seems to wet the bed every time they get to the playoffs, and that's not the thing you can do against a tough, New York's Knicks team like that. It's just the type of thing where you need a little bit more. I guess I'm talking a lot of shit, but he had 34 points, 10 rebounds. But it's always the same thing at the end of the game. Very similar to what I'm talking about with the Lakers and the Nuggets. It seems like Embiid gets the numbers, gets the stats. But when you need that bucket, when you need that rebound, you need a stop, you need a play, he always seems to like turn it over, miss a shot. Maybe he falls down. Maxey, still really young. Really, his first year as like a co-pilot of a team, that person that where he has the ball. He had 35, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds, so he balled out. Really just a failed opportunity for the Sixers, where they also have virtually been in both of these first 2 games, had a chance to win. But the same thing, same question that you might have with the Lakers is the series really over yet? They just won both games at home. If the Sixers can go back and get game 3, then everything's kind of right back where you started at game 4 if you win that one. So definitely missed opportunity for the 76ers, but can't even say enough about the Knicks, just about the heart they're showing. And no pun intended, Josh Hart balling out 21 points and 15 rebounds from the guard position is crazy. That's like some D-Wade type of numbers right there, just getting rebounds, crashing the boards relentlessly. Hartenstein, he added 14 points. So, stepping up a little bit in the absence of Julius Randle, 8 rebounds. Brunson struggled, not too great from the field. He only 8 of 29, so 27%. But he still ended up with 24 points. He had that clutch 3 in the final 30 seconds to cut the lead for the Knicks and get them a little closer. And then Dante DiVincenzo added 19, and he had that clutch 3 to pretty much give them the lead, win the game. And, the Knicks just play as a really good team, man. And in the NBA nowadays, especially, that's going to at least get you to the second round. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say the Knicks are going to make it to the conference finals. I know a lot of people are hating right now on the Bucks, but I still think the Bucks can win. Even if Giannis is hurt, I still think with Lillard, Portis, Lopez, I still think you got enough to beat the Knicks, just because, like I said, I know what the Thibodeau team is like. I used to be the number one. I mean, I'm still a Bulls fan, number one Bulls fan, baby. But I used to be just bleeding for D-Rose, bleeding for Boozer, Noah, and it reminds me a lot of the same. We win a lot of the games we're not supposed to, but it's against teams where we could still win. You go against the big boys, you go against those giant teams with that star power. It's kind of when you end up losing. It's a point guard heavy offense. Brunson's been struggling. So, if maybe people like Tobias Harris could step up, Oubre, the Sixers probably are looking at something different. But right now they're struggling, which isn't anything new. Tobias Harris kind of always does the same thing. Kelly Oubre hasn't really had a lot of playoff opportunities. And Kyle Lowry, he does what he can, but 8 points for him is pretty good. And Oubre getting 4, that's a little bit embarrassing. So, Tyrese Maxey still doing him. Batum, same thing, a little bit older. He had 6, but, you need a little bit more from that starting lineup. Tobias Harris, come on, buddy. Getting that bag, and he's always doing the same thing. But I think the answer to the question is that, yeah, I think the Knicks are just tougher than the 76ers, man. Tobias Harris always seems to do this. Joel Embiid, he's hurt, but he also has a history of not showing up in the playoffs. Oubre, I mean, I guess he doesn't have a lot of a history, but not showing too much out there. And it seems like just overall, even a player like Buddy Hield, Buddy Hield's first time in the playoffs, and he's pretty much done nothing. He had 14 minutes last night and only 2 points. I mean, and he only had 3 shot attempts. So, I mean, that's something that a lot of people thought that would be a good move for them. You have a spacer, you have a shooter. I remember, the teams before with Ben Simmons, with Bellinelli out there, Ilyasova, you had JJ Redick, just all shooters. And, that's what you think of like a Buddy Hield. Hey, you got Maxey cutting, you got Embiid on the post, you got some double teams, and Hield just seems to, be pretty much doing that. He's yielding, he's not going, he's staying back. But we'll see what happens next game. They're also going to be playing here on Thursday. So we have a chance to see another back-to-back masterclass. So you're going to have Sixers, and Sixers are going to be hosting the New York Knicks Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. And then after that, we'll have the Los Angeles Lakers hosting the Denver Nuggets at 10 p.m. Eastern. So I'm expecting another really good doubleheader, 2 close games, a battle. I think both teams, I'm going to say the Lakers and the 76ers, both must wins for them if they have any chance at winning the series. So shout out to both of those games last night. I couldn't stop watching the TV. I was locked in, zoned in. But I'm excited to see those games on Thursday. We got to wait 2 more days, y'all. 2 more days. And the first game of the night, but the third game we're going to talk about, once again, Cavs shut down the Orlando Magic 96-86. Cleveland's kind of just gone, I would say, really under the radar most of the season. So the question I want to ask, is Cleveland underrated, or is Orlando just too young? So Cleveland definitely has been overlooked. Some are saying, underrated. Donovan Mitchell was out a lot of the season, so they never really fell out of playoff contention, but they just been kind of stuck there at 4 most of the year. And plus, a lot of us saw the same thing last year. They went up into the playoffs all pumped up, excited. They have a good roster: Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen. They've added Struce. They've added Struce, George Niang. They got Okoro that also plays some defense. You got Karis LeVert. So they have a lot of talent, but, a little bit maybe weird. Mobley hasn't really stepped up as much as he should. Jared Allen, just a kind of a big old school big that doesn't really have a jumper or anything like that. So when Mobley's not hitting the jumpers and Allen's not hitting the jumpers, you got these 2 old school giant centers that really can't do too much. But that kind of offsets where you got Garland and Mitchell that just can create and do everything possible. But 96-86. And, that's actually makes it look a little bit closer. I was watching most of the game, and, Cleveland just kind of had it the whole time. There's a few times where the Magic would start to make a run, do a little bit, chip away. But, Cleveland just kind of coasted. And Donovan Mitchell, we all know what he could do in the playoffs. He had 23 points, 8 rebounds, and he's not even playing that great. 2 of 10 from 3. He only shot 9 of 22 from the field. But it's just kind of the overwhelming, I think, inexperience of the Orlando Magic. They got Paolo Banchero, you got Franz Wagner, and they're good numbers. Paolo had 21, Franz added 18, but we all know what the NBA playoffs are all about. The stars, the best players on your team, got to step up. So 21 and 18, that might be cool, like on a Tuesday night, some point like in December. But when you're having that playoff game, you got to step it up, man. You got to do a little bit more. And Paolo's numbers look all right, 9 of 20. So he still shot 45%, but 6 turnovers, only 3 rebounds. You can't have more turnovers and rebounds. Paolo, you're too big, too strong out there. Do a little bit more. And just the rest of the team, man, just a big dud, it looks like, by the Magic. I mean, 18 from Wagner. So Franz Wagner had 18, Paolo with 21, Gary Harris had 14, Suggs with 9, Ingles had 2, Carter Jr. had 6, Mark Helfoltz had 1, and then the other, Mo Wagner, Franz's brother, he had 12. So he actually had a crazy play, though. If anybody check that out, pull it up on X. Mo Wagner behind the back, just went crazy and boom that mug like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was wild. But that was the highlight for the night of the Magic. They can't really do much. It seems like I mentioned that they're just inexperienced. I think a lot of these young guys definitely are not used to how different the playoffs are for the NBA. It's a little bit annoying that they do change kind of the gameplay like that, where in the regular season they're a little bit more loose, or not, actually complete opposite. In the regular season, the NBA, always a lot more strict, calling ticky-tack fouls, all that flopping stuff. They give into it all. Then the playoffs happen, complete 180. They start letting things go. Things get physical. They start letting you play more. And it seems like that's kind of shocked the Magic. The Magic are that young team, never actually been to the playoffs. So your first time stepping into that environment, the players are able to be physical with you, get you off your spot. And, you know, Franz Wagner keeps looking at the refs every 30 seconds like, yo, you're not Luka, you're not Dame, you're not one of these players that's a superstar. So expecting those calls, even as a superstar, is a little bit OC. But just like an up-and-coming player, first time in the playoffs, I think they're just kind of learning that you got to come with a little bit more grit, a little bit more force, and learn how to battle through some of that physicality, because they're just kind of getting, I would say, manhandled out there these first two games. Cleveland's just, you know, the score looks a little bit closer, only up by 10, but the whole game they're just consistently putting on a whooping. And I don't really know what's going to happen after that. I do think, to answer the question, is Cleveland underrated or is Orlando just too young? I think it's actually like a 50-50. It feels like Cleveland is a little bit underrated. A lot of people are hyping up the Knicks, and I don't think that Cleveland's that different than the Knicks. But I also do think that Orlando is just really young. First time in the playoffs. They don't know what that physicality is like in an NBA playoff series. Seems like they're a little bit shook by that. They keep looking at the refs. They got to stop with that. So I think it's kind of a 50-50. Cleveland's definitely underrated, but I also think Orlando's just too young. And a year from now, I think the Magic could probably, you know, make this a lot better of a series. But this year, doesn't look like they're ready. They're also down 2-0. They're going to be going to Orlando for the next game. That's also going to be Thursday. So their NBA is just running it back on Thursday. They're going to start off again, Cleveland at Orlando, followed up by the 76ers hosting the New York Knicks. And then the third game on Thursday is going to be the LA Lakers hosting the Nuggets. They've lost 10 in a row to them. Can they finally get their lick back? Can they finally get a dub? I mean, if they don't, series is over, season's over. Maybe Bronny's coming next season. Maybe LeBron's gone. We'll see how it goes, but Thursday's going to be exciting. I can't wait for that lineup of games. But for tonight's games, let's not even get ahead of ourselves. For everybody that does take a listen today, we got a few games Wednesday, we're on Wednesday today, are we? No, we're on Tuesday. So today, for Tuesday night, quick preview. Here we go. It took me a little second. But for tonight, Tuesday, TNT, Timberwolves are hosting the Suns again. Timberwolves are up 1-0. Anthony Edwards just destroyed them pretty much by himself, was talking hella shit to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was laughing. He seems like all cool with it. And that's honestly, that annoys me sometimes. I feel that's what it is with Kevin Durant. Like, yo, the young guy's just talking shit to you and you're just like, oh, cool, it's a new era. Seems like he just be on some like goofy, delusional, I don't want to win stuff. And that's irking me with Durant, even though he had 31. But they're going to play tonight. I think the Suns, I would say kind of a must win for the Suns. I mean, that's a little bit dramatic. But they've just been like this all season, you know. And a lot of people thought, Minnesota, yeah, they got Edwards. They're probably more of a regular season team. They were all the way up to number 1 in the West for a long time. They're down to 3 now. And they still, I mean, they have a solid team, a little bit different, not probably what most people build the team like in this year or this era of the NBA. But they have a good team. They play well. They play defense. And that's the thing. That's the Suns. That's the thing is Minnesota plays good defense. They play like a team. The exact things that the Suns don't do. The Suns don't play defense. They don't play like a team, but they have the star power. So we'll see what happens. Booker was talking a little bit about, hey, we lost to the Clippers in the year before in game 1, still came back. So that's actually a very true point. I think tonight, if the Suns can figure it out, this is definitely a game they could win. Minnesota's not that experienced as a team winning together, so it definitely could be, a little bit of a letdown, or maybe they get a little overconfident. It's definitely a chance for Anthony Edwards to just come out and prove that he's really that guy and that he could be the face of the league. After that, Milwaukee's hosting Indiana, Central Division rivalry. Shout out to the Central Division. The Bucks surprisingly just dismantled the Pacers in game one. No Giannis, didn't matter. Dame Lillard had 35 points in the first half. He didn't even score in the second half, but it didn't matter. They came out and killed them. Indiana's pretty much been on a downslide since the in-season tournament. I think Halliburton's probably not 100% right, but he also hasn't stepped up. So if he wants to be a superstar, got to take the criticism. He's got to step up and do something. Siakam's kind of trying to do it all in his absence. And only imagine if the Bucks could have got Siakam. That would have been actually kind of crazy. I would have tried to do that. But Bucks hosting the Pacers, I think the Bucks probably take this one again. A lot of people hating on the Bucks, hating on Doc Rivers. I get it. I understand. Not like I think they might make it to the finals. I did say that. I don't think so anymore. But they definitely have what it takes to at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then the last game of the night, the big matchup. I think Kawhi's still out, but Clippers hosting the Mavericks. Clippers pretty much dominated the first game as well. Luka had 33. Kyrie also did his thing, had over 30. But James Harden did what he does. And there's a hilarious meme that was like, hey, Harden, game one, other teams' players hurt. That's when he shows out the most. So Clippers got that win in. Not the craziest thing. I mean, Mavericks were one of the hottest teams coming in. A lot of people picking them to make it. I also picked them to make it to the finals. So write that down, post-market. I think they get the bounce back win tonight. I think Luka watched some tape, let Kyrie cook. Kyrie was going crazy. Then Luka kind of ball stopped a few times. And Luka's my favorite player, bro. So come on, step it up, do better. But the 3 games tonight, we got Timberwolves hosting the Suns. Timberwolves are up 1-0. Bucks hosting the Pacers. The Bucks are also up 1-0. And then the Clippers hosting the Dallas Mavericks. And Clippers are also up 1-0. So for my picks tonight, I'm definitely going to go with Phoenix Suns. Ooh, shaking the screen, shake the screen. All right, let me start that over. I got a little disgruntled. For my picks for tonight, I'm going to go with Phoenix Suns over the Timberwolves. I think Kevin Durant, Devin Booker have big games tonight, get that bounce back. I think the Bucks, once again, defeat the Pacers. I think the Pacers just kind of just hurt a little bit. Halliburton doesn't look like himself. Ben Mathurin also went out for the season, so they're kind of just straggling along. I'm taking the Bucks over the Pacers. And then for the final game of the night, I'm going with the Dallas Mavericks over the Los Angeles Clippers. Still no Kawhi. I think Luka, Kyrie go off tonight. I think Dallas makes a little bit of some adjustments, and I really just don't think that James Harden's going to have another great game tonight. So we'll see how it plays out. Another great night of some NBA basketball. I'm excited for Thursday's games. And we can't wait. Got to see who's going to be the champions. Got to see. Tune in. All righty. So let's shift from some basketball real quick. Get some agua. Agua, you're my best friend. You guys remember that PBS show, Sagua, with the cat? That's what I was thinking about for that song. Instead of Sagua, it's Agua, you're my best friend. And obviously it's Agua, but it's funnier to say Agua. But next vibe, next topic. I'm sure everybody that's tapped into any type of fighting, anybody that just has a internet device in their hand, where's a cell phone? One of these bad boys. I'm sure you guys all saw it already. Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney. Pretty surprising. Ryan's been going crazy on the internet. He knocked down Devin Haney 3 times. Pretty much same punch, left hook. Everybody knows that's what Ryan got, and that's what Ryan wants to get to. But apparently Devin Haney still kind of let his ego get the best of him. He was pretty much Devin Haney was trying to stalk down Ryan Garcia. I think that whole charade that Ryan put on, acting all crazy, telling all these stories, true or not, who knows? But he definitely was creating a lot of distractions. At least that's what a lot of people thought. And it ended up just kind of creating a lot of hype for the fight. I think Devin Haney was just a little bit perplexed, a little bit lost. They've actually fought 6 times in amateur boxing, so they have a little bit of a history together. They got to know each other at least a little bit. So he probably was confused, like, yo, this guy losing his mind, probably thinking that Ryan's just off something. It looks like he's definitely doing a little something. But he came out surprised right in the first round. Ryan just knocks down Haney. Haney's eyes just look shocked. And instead of what I kind of expected was Haney to maybe point fight him, just, box for the skill, not to knock him out, to win the fight. He kind of just kept trying to stalk Ryan down. I don't know if he thought he has the punching power, the knockout power, or what. But he just kept setting himself up, and leaving that opportunity for Ryan to just come in. And, I mean, let's be honest, guys. We all know, we all saw what happened. The ref saved Haney quite a few times. There was a time where Ryan knocks down Haney. The ref walks over, like pushes Ryan back, comes over to Haney, then starts counting, wastes like 3-4 seconds, just kind of giving Haney that opportunity. So I don't know whether it's, hey, that dude just, that's what he was doing in the moment, just like any human being, he made a mistake, who knows? Or is he just with the, what everybody says about boxing? Boxing's rigged, boxing's always fixed. So it definitely created that narrative that night. And then even more insane, there was actually a judge that so not only was the ref just bugging out, almost cost Ryan, he did cost Ryan a knockout, seemed like he almost cost him the fight, but after Ryan knocked down Haney 2 more times, it was kind of just evident that, Ryan was winning the fight. Haney was getting some of the other numbers when they look at the score sheet a little bit, beating him on like jabs, but Ryan was dominating with power punches, and obviously those 3 knockdowns and just the eye test. Haney looked beat up, all swollen up in his face. Ryan looked like barely anything had happened. But he ended up winning. Ryan Garcia won. He won by a split decision. So it was actually, is it a split decision? Let's see what it's called. Got to make sure I get that right. Winning this by majority decision. See, I was like, how could it be split if it's 2-1? Simple math, Maurice. All right. So basically, like I mentioned, back to that. Ryan ended up winning by majority decision. One of the scores from a ref was 115 from a ref. Jesus, just spiraling right now, guys, just spiraling down. Alrighty, so Ryan ended up winning by majority decision. One of the judges had it 115 to 109. Another had it 114 to 110. And then the third actually had it 112 to 112. So, I mean, I was surprised by the end of the fight. I definitely was like, yo, it has to go to Ryan. I don't even know how you could, just to anybody that's ever been in a fight or watched the fight, how do you get knocked down 3 times and win the fight? And without even dishing out any damage like that. Ryan didn't get knocked down. But Garcia shocked the world. Definitely going to set up probably a rematch at some point. I'll say the one negative thing, or a negative thing, is that Ryan did miss weight. So he ended up not actually even being able to win the WBC lightweight or super lightweight champion. Or wait, was that what it was for? See, look, they got all type of stuff in here. And handed the lightweight champion. Yep. So they couldn't even fight for the championship for the WBC super lightweight because Ryan missed weight. So Ryan was 3 pounds overweight. And then not only did he not be like, hey, I made a mistake, he just doubled down, was like, you know what? I'm coming into the fight. I want to come in feeling healthy. I want to feel at my best. And he's kind of referring to the Tank Davis fight where he had to follow like a rehydration clause. He wasn't allowed to rehydrate to get to a certain level. And now you kind of see why. Ryan's a lot bigger than some of these dudes in that weight class, especially after you're able to rehydrate. And he's got that power in that left hand. So you could see why Tank Davis did that. The good thing, or the cool thing with this win, is it definitely creates a little more leverage for Ryan, a little bit more mystique behind him. So it builds up something for another fight, not only with Haney, potentially with Davis down the road. I would probably say if I were Ryan, get another 1 or 2 fights, actually take them seriously. Don't fight at a weight that you think you can't get that low to. Agree to another weight class, and probably get a couple more fights in before you go get that Davis rematch. Because although he's trying to say I'm not crazy, all this stuff, all that stuff he's doing is so extra. If you really want to win, and against the best, which I would say Tank is right now the best, you definitely got to come mentally right, everything right. So I think a couple more fights, get it together. And I just saw that he did drop he's on a podcast with PBD on Valuetainment. So definitely going to go check that out once I finish up with this today. But man, Ryan Garcia shocked the world. One of the most exciting boxing fights I've seen in forever. And it's exciting to see that, now a lot of these boxers are willing to take the chance to actually fight each other and make some of these name fight happen. So for such a long time, boxers seem to just be running away, not fighting each other. Not to point anybody out, Floyd Mayweather, but picking all your fights when you should win, when you shouldn't win, and fighting people at the right age when you kind of got them. So a lot of it's interesting getting back to kind of what it used to be. I think the UFC's put a lot of pressure on boxing because the UFC, whole different thing, its own organization. They put the fights on. Fighters can't really, pick and choose, or if they do that, they're not going to really get any good fights, or they're not going to fight for a long time. Versus boxing, everybody's kind of like an independent contractor. There's all types of different championship belts for the same weight classes, and you kind of got to come together, put all types of business negotiations. So a whole different ordeal. But despite that, it seems like now a lot of these guys are realizing not only the value and how much money they can make, but just how much you can actually build off of those wins and also off of the losses. I mean, I think for a long time, losing in boxing was just looked at as like your career is over. But now I think it's a little more respectable. If you can fight those fights, you're going to make more money. And a lot of people like to see those rematches. It's that narrative, boy. We all love those narratives. So I don't know. I think the question I was wanting to ask and that I had was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprising was the Ryan Garcia win on Saturday? And my answer would be, if there wasn't any like antics, if he wasn't acting all crazy, all his tweets, his videos, just the way that he's presenting himself, I would say without all of that, I'm like, it's like a 5. It could go either way. He has that power. He's beat him when they were amateurs. But with all the antics, with everything that was going on a scale of 1 to 10, I was surprised. It was like 1,000 million trillion. And even before the fight, he looked nervous and scared. And that's all based on our perception of what's leading up to the fight. So we're all talking. I'm with some of my cousins, and we're like, yo, he probably thought they were going to cancel the fight. He probably thought the fight wasn't going to be allowed to happen. Man, he's probably going to try to get disqualified. So Ryan, man, shout out to you. Shocked the world. Scale of 1 to 10, I was 1,000 trillion billion. Did not expect him to get that. I was surprised. And I really think it's going to set up some good future fights for boxing. And he's even talking about trying to fight Sugar Sean or Sean O'Malley from the UFC. Sean said that's probably a couple years away, but just kind of tells you, man, this is going to build up a lot of fame for not only Ryan, but for boxing too. Man, another one. And that's a great follow-up from the week before. UFC 300 was insane. Alex Pereira, yada boom, bada bing, did his thing. So it's been a good couple of weeks of some combat sports. All right. And the last topic of the day, but arguably the most important topic of the week, especially in Chicago. What should the Bears do with the 9th pick in this year's draft? So I think we all know, number 1 pick, sealed and dealed. Envelope has been signed. Checks have been written. Caleb Williams will be the number 1 pick coming to Chicago. We got our franchise quarterback. Looks like that's going to be a legit pick. All the videos I've been seeing, all of the little, snippets. He just came out on a podcast yesterday. I got to check that out too. But looking like that's the right pick, the right move for us to make. Chicago, I know we're all on the same prayers every night. Please let us get our quarterback, man. We've gone through Rex Grossman. We've gone through Mitch Trubisky. We've gone through everybody, guys. Like, I can't do much more. I can't do it. We need Caleb Williams. We need you, buddy. We need you to hit. I bought the Justin Fields jersey. That one's going to sit in the back of the closet. Hopefully, best of luck to him. Maybe becomes a vintage. Who knows? But Caleb Williams will be coming to Chicago. First pick this Thursday. Let's go. But the real question is, and where it really starts for the Bears is, what should the Bears do with the 9th pick? So a lot of people are talking about a receiver, offensive line. The Bears actually only have, I believe, Bears only have 4 picks this year. So we have the 1st pick, the 9th pick, the 75th pick, and the 122nd pick. So only 4 picks. We had a 2nd-round pick as well, but that actually went to Washington for the Montez Sweat trade. So can't even hate on that. Definitely, if you knew a 2nd-round pick would produce Montez Sweat, you take that in a heartbeat. So a lot of people talking about for the 9th pick, are we going to take a receiver? Are we going to take somebody on the line? Maybe we're going to take a defensive player. The Bears have done a ton for the offense this offseason, getting Swift, adding Keenan Allen. Who else did we get? We got Gerald Everett on the offensive side. So a lot of rumors are like, hey, maybe Eberflus, he's a defensive coach, like throw me a bone. Let's get a defensive player, get somebody good. But that also comes to the question of who's sitting there at the 9th pick. If there is like a Rome Odunze or is there somebody left there that maybe slipped down a little bit, I would take the receiver. And then also a third option that's been coming up a little bit more. And the reason I think that this option might actually play out, so let me talk about the scenario first. So a lot of people are saying that maybe the Bears are going to trade the 9th pick to maybe get 2 picks or another 2 or 3 picks, depending on who's trying to move up or what they're trying to get. So if you look at it from that perspective, we have the number 1 pick. We only have 3 more of the rest. Maybe if you drop to like 11 or 12 and then get something else, whether it's late in the first or sometime in the second, that kind of helps us build up the team. But I think it just depends. That 1 and the 9, having 2 picks in the top 10 is something that you just don't really see a lot in the NFL. And the difference between the NFL and almost like every other sport is your draft picks, especially your first round draft picks. Those guys are usually difference makers. Those guys that can play right away, that you can plug in right away on your team. So a number 1 and a number 9 pick have the potential, if you can hit on both, to really just change everything for the franchise. So I think if they trade it, maybe if you fall back a few picks, but I don't know if that's going to happen. They're kind of keeping that pick a little close to the vest. Obviously, the Caleb Williams one. I think if you do listen to some of his interviews, it seems like they thought like, hey, we're better off for like his mental and him and setting everything up if we just let him know this is your team. We're going to pick you. That's why they got rid of Fields. Pretty much did that whole thing, set him up. And now we're going to see what they end up going with. And a lot of people, you got to remember the 9th pick is the Bears pick. So the first pick just came to us from North Carolina, from Charlotte, from the Carolina Panthers. Shout out to them. So we got that pick from them, from the trade that we made last year. So that's the thing. The Bears have a decent squad. Obviously, the 9th pick, we didn't make the playoffs, but we played really good at the end of the season. Defense stepped up. We have a whole new offensive side of the ball this year, new coordinator, and pretty much all new players, minus, a DJ Moore. So it's going to be very interesting. I think they have a chance if like a Odunze or even Malik Neighbors can fall down. The Bears definitely pick them up. I can't imagine a trio, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Odunze, or Neighbors. I mean, that's a solid 3, and you got Swift, and you got Everett, and you got Komet. So things are getting exciting, y'all. Thursday is going to be, a draft that's, for me, must watch. I'm going to be tuned in. I can't wait to see what the Bears are really going to do this season. It feels like it's finally a time where things are kind of like starting to actually come together. And it could really change everything. The NFC North, a lot of people giving love to the Packers. The Lions had a big year last year. But football changes so fast, man. The Vikings got rid of Kirk Cousins. A lot of people are saying they're probably going to try to trade for like a McCarthy from Michigan or somebody that's going to try to move up. So NFC North, I still think is pretty wide open. NFC, everybody besides maybe the Niners, the Rams, maybe this year. But, there's a chance, man. So Caleb, come on in, buddy. Let's see what we could get at that number 9 pick, though. But I was taking a look at some of the different, information that you could find online. So some of the draft needs right now, if you could rank them, at least from based on what everyone's saying, linebacker, wide receiver, even though we have a lot of that top talent, we don't have a lot of a deep talent. And receiver, the reason I still want to lean that way, Keenan Allen, don't get me wrong, all-star type of player, Pro Bowl type of dude, all of that. But he also does get hurt a lot. I mean, if anybody plays fantasy football and you have Keenan Allen, he's definitely going to miss a few games a year. So I think he's a great pickup just because of his professionalism and obviously his talent. But if we can get a rookie receiver, somebody that can build with Williams for the next, decade or so, and he can learn from both, Moore and also from Keenan Allen, I think that makes a ton of sense there. I don't think they're going to be able to get Marvin Harrison Jr., but maybe, a Neighbors or a Dunze like we talked about. We still need offensive guard. We need the line. I mean, that's what kind of killed Justin Fields, even though he wasn't the best. I mean, we've all seen it, but he also got no defense, or not no defense, but nobody protected him on the offensive line. So if they can get somebody there, I think that's something that might happen. We also need some help on the defensive line. I don't know if we are going to use a 9th pick for that. And then obviously number 1 quarterback. So based on that, we know we're going to get Caleb Williams, obviously going to be number 1. I know we need help on the line, but I think it kind of maybe just depends what's going to happen with those first several picks. So a lot of people think quarterbacks are all going to be gone, but we all know that whatever we think is going to happen usually never ends up happening. And there's always these people in these front offices that, they think they know something everybody else doesn't. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm excited, it's going to be crazy. Great Bull season. Not Bull season, my gosh. They're just ingrained in me. I hate the Bulls. I don't even want to talk about them. Great Bear season, I think, coming up. And just a lot of opportunity for them to really set the tone. And, I'm just taking a little look at the article here. Just some of the stuff, that they are talking about, though, is a little bit of that same thing I was talking about, with Moore and Allen. They're both a little bit older. Neither of them are speedsters. They're both like good route runners in the slot. So if we can get somebody that can really just, break it over the top. And Bears have tried that. We all remember Vallis Jones. He's pretty terrible, but they've already gone for that. Trying to see if they have any ideas of who they want to go after here, though. Joe Alt, that'd be on the line. That'd be not too bad. Need more pass rushers. Yeah. Yeah, and the same thing this kind of article wraps up with that I was taking a look at here. Shout out to NBC Sports Chicago. But there's still so many scenarios that might play out for 2 to 8. So you don't even know who's going to be available. Arizona, a lot of people are saying they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., but you never know. There's also rumors of them maybe trading the pick. There's still rumors about that 5 pick with the Chargers getting traded, whether that's to Minnesota. So, there's still a lot of movement that can happen. And the NFL always produces. Let's see, what's the order real quick? Yeah, so, first pick, everybody's thinking, we all know Bears, Caleb Williams. Redskins, a lot of people, obviously, Jaden Daniels is that big name, but they brought in all the other quarterbacks. And there's still a lot of people linking Daniels to the Raiders. The Raiders don't pick until 13th, so that could be a team maybe that tries to sneak up or make a big move. Patriots at 3, I think they're going to take a quarterback. I don't see any way that you back out of 3. They're never in the top 5, so you're there, you got to take the pick. Arizona, they're at 4. A lot of people saying they're probably going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., at least one of the receivers. Chargers at 5. Then you got New York Giants at 6, Tennessee Titans 7, Falcons 8. So, a lot of opportunity here, man. New York Giants, they might take a quarterback. You never know. They need a lot of help. Tennessee, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback, but there could be a lot of movement, man. Who knows? The Bears might even get rid of the 9th pick, but we're going to see, man. We're only 2 days away. Thursday's going to be a big day. You got NFL draft. You got all the game 3s with everybody returning back home. You're going to have the Lakers at home, the Sixers at home, the Magic at home. So drop a comment. Let me know, what do you think the Bears are going to do with the 9th pick? We all know the Bears are going with Caleb Williams at number 1, but what we don't know is what the Bears are going to do with the 9th pick. Should they trade it to get more picks? Should we get a receiver? Should we get some offensive line help to protect Caleb Williams? Or should we get some defensive line help to help out the defense, since we've been kind of spending all our money on the offensive side? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think we should do. I'm excited for Thursday. Bears finally got some hope, baby. But thanks for checking out the latest episode of the Unlimited Characters podcast. Hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, hit the like button. Let's go crazy. Never fugazi, never lazy. Let's go entertainment, baby.